G'day everyone, I'm having a cup of tea here with Tara Eden, a Feldenkrais practitioner in Chiang Mai, Thailand, who I've been working with on my body movement for a couple of years now. So welcome Tara, I'm so happy to be here with you. Cheers, cheers to everyone watching us. The topic that we're going to talk about right now is around how the perceptions that we have of ourselves result in the different ways that we move our body. For those of you watching, a lot of people know what Feldenkrais is because it's quite a popular technique of, I guess, self-development out there. Many people watching may have never heard of Feldenkrais. What is it?
Yeah, that's $1 million question. The answer will usually change depending on who I'm talking to.
Okay.
A little bit, in that ultimately it's an awareness practice, but if you don't have a context for awareness, sometimes I have to fine-tune that. So again, what we do ultimately is help a person get a deeper, more layered image of themselves.
And this is all about our body and of the way we move?
It starts with your body and the way you move, but we also don't make a distinguishment between your mind and your body.
Oh,
right?
of course,
What's
yeah.
that, Cartesian? The Cartesian duality?
Oh, yeah,
right?
Well, that's it.
right. So there's no, it's a mind body.
Okay. Okay.
Everything that you experience in your body starts in your mind, right?
I think, therefore I am. Is that it?
Yeah, absolutely. And then that also comes down to the way that I move and the way that I hold myself posturally isn't just a function of my muscles, it's a function of my nervous system. It's a function of my consciousness. It's a function of, again, how I was socialized, the environment I grew up in. And then sometimes, we can try a whole gamut of things to get over our pain, but what hasn't been addressed is our sense of self and our nervous system. And there's some sort of misalignment about how we are in life.
Right.
That is creating pain in our body. It might be an intellectual thing, right? It might be a self-esteem thing, but that's actually going to show up in your musculature and how you're in your movement.
That's pretty interesting. What are some common issues of pain that you come across that relate to the way we see ourselves, how we carry ourselves?
The most common one is low back pain.
Okay.
And almost always, again, there's many things. There's never like one reason for anything.
Right.
But almost always, low back pain is about how we're organizing ourselves to be upright, sitting or moving. And very often I find that has to do with our abdomen, our belly, or our sense of core.
Yeah. What do you do with the Feldenkrais approach? Let's say someone comes in and they've got real issues with lower back pain. What's the process that you go through to help someone?
First of all, if you have pain, then I already know that your sensory self-image is distorted. Okay. Right? Not your psychological self-image, but your sensory self-image. The parts of yourself that you can feel, that you're aware of at any given moment. Yeah. If you have pain, your brain is going to be constantly going to that pain. Yeah. To the degree that it becomes habitual. Yep. Like with phantom limb syndrome, right? Phantom limb syndrome is because you're so used to that pain, even when the limb's gone, your brain still thinks that limb is in pain, right? That happens all the time. Yeah. So you've got someone with lower back pain, and just like with the phantom limb syndrome, someone with the pain's constantly aware of the pain, right, defaulting to it, and probably changing the way that they carry themselves as a result of not just the pain itself, but the relationship with the pain. Yeah. Relationship with the pain for sure. Okay. And also when you have a pain situation, it distorts your sensory self-image. If you have a lot of pain here, you're less likely to be able to feel yourself, for example, up here, or in another part of yourself, right? So the way that you're using yourself down here is constantly in concert with how you're using yourself here. Yeah. But if you don't have a sense of yourself here, you could get into some sort of habitual holding pattern that's actually exacerbating what you're doing here, but you don't feel enough to realize it. So Feldenkrais, at least in the initial moments, is about bringing awareness to the way this all works together. Yeah, more of a sense of self. Again, if you have pain, you're only going to know your pain, right? Yeah. With low back pain, most of us lose a sense of the length of our spine and the mobility of our spine. Yeah. And we just keep coming back to the pain. So until we can literally get download a different program in terms of the image of ourselves, we're not going to get out of that pain situation. So for people watching this and
no doubt everyone can relate to lower back pain at some point in their lives. They probably figured that's pretty interesting, like bringing awareness to it and the relationship between the pain that you might feel and the other parts of the body, and how we compensate and move and build up new habits and neuroses around that experience of pain. Yeah. So you bring awareness to it. How do you do it? Do you speak to people, and is this a psychology session, or does it become quite physical, or?
Well, again, it's not separate, right? The psychology session is the body session.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is a somatic practice. This is like a new buzzword.
What does somatic
right?
mean?
Somatic is essentially addressing your experience of your body, your sensory experience of your body.
Got it.
Okay. So, however, you could argue, okay, so any sport or yoga is somatic. Feeling something habitually, feeling a muscle contraction, working out at the gym, running, doing yoga, those are physical activities, but you're not necessarily observing your sensation. You might at the gym be observing, I want to, flex this muscle at the, you're doing yoga, you want to stretch this whatever.
Because I see people looking in the mirror all the time at the gym.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is an external experience.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Whereas a somatic experience would be how you can sense yourself from the inside.
Okay, that's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So you as a crafts person, right? So this is your craft in some way. How do you operate? So I want to paint the picture a little bit for everyone watching. So I've just done a Feldenkrais integration session with Tara, and it was pretty amazing. It was almost like massage. I got put into a different place, but it's a lot of really subtle body movements. So I was like lying back very relaxed, and I guess there was a relationship between me and you as you help taking me through little bits of movement. So what are you doing there? And maybe help people understand, let's say it was my lower back pain that I'd come to you with. What would be the point of going through these little body movements?
The easiest way to explain it is that our brain is attracted to novelty. So if you do anything habitually, it becomes a very worn pathway. So even the context of what we do in functional integration, you're on a table, everything is extremely slow. We're just in a capsule of timelessness. That in itself, especially these days, is just not a normal thing. No. So already you set up the conditions for your nervous system to change and your relationship with yourself to change, right?
Right, that's really cool.
It is cool.
It's a beautiful way of putting it, a capsule of timelessness.
Isn't it though?
But
that your experience?
That is what it is.
Yeah.
Like I love these sessions. Whenever I'm in Chiang Mai, I book up sessions, as many as I can with Tara, so I can just really get into it. It's one of the most incredible things to do.
Yeah.
So you saw the video I did recently on doing nothing came from one of our conversations, because as I was in this capsule of timelessness, I was like, I need more of this in my life. I don't want to just come to Feldenkrais to get this. I want this to permeate through just the way I carry myself outside these sessions.
Yeah. And did you figure out how to do that?
No. That's why I'm back here, and I just keep on booking you out. So in fact, it's probably one of the funny things, obviously, for 2 years off and on, because it depends when I'm in Chiang Mai, but I always come back, and Tara's always like, have you been doing Feldenkrais on your own as a daily practice to carry it through? And I'm getting better, actually.
Are you?
Well, you're getting better at guiding me, because it started off with like big batches of homework. Now you just do this one thing, 2 minutes. And I've been doing that. So lately I have been doing it every day for the last few weeks.
That's a good strategy.
And I feel amazing for it.
Yeah, so you do feel amazing.
Yeah, I do feel amazing.
Good. Yeah, I mean, it's an awareness game, like you said. So the big batches of homework are great if you're already kind of like in the practice of taking an hour to do nothing and just pay attention to your awareness, your body awareness.
That's the key, isn't it? Like, people ask questions after the last video about, is doing nothing about literally nothing, like disengaging, but the thing we're talking about here is about doing nothing but with awareness.
Right, absolutely.
And that's what Feldenkrais is all about, bringing awareness to all of these habitual body movements.
Yeah, and I mean, I would argue that it's far from doing nothing. Right. It's just doing things differently. And that's the key. That's the crux of what we're doing, is whether it's compulsive thinking or straining in your body, clenching your teeth, holding in your belly, whatever the thing is. If you become aware of what you're doing, then you have the potential to start to change. If you can change what you're doing habitually, compulsively, then you might open yourself up to new possibilities.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
If you're not aware of what you're doing, you're not going to change anything. How would things ever be different if you don't change anything?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. We were talking before about the experience of going to the gym. So I go to the gym regularly as well. And I feel like Feldenkrais is about going really deep, firstly and foremost, into the awareness of everything. Whereas not everyone, but often people go to the gym, not so much with that awareness of going within and seeing how it all works. It's more with like a vision of what they want their body to look like. And it's a very aggressive experience of trying to get there through, you know, pounding iron, like lifting iron up and down and breaking the muscles and everything to get it to that point.
It's also fragmenting.
Right.
Right? It breaks you up into pieces instead of sensing yourself like a whole, which again can lead to more problems.
And that's literally what you do with the gym. Like, let's say bicep, you'll get your arm here and just go boom, like over and over. You actually want to isolate the muscles. Oh, except for the functional exercises like barbells all the way up, down like that.
And that might have
you end up using a lot of the pieces of the body, which is just a great experience too.
Again, providing that you're aware of what you're doing, because the moment your intention is just looking a certain way or getting a certain amount of reps or achieving a certain thing, then likely you're not really paying attention. People that injure themselves, you don't just suddenly injure yourself. You injure yourself after you've done like little tiny injuries. You know, people that are like, I threw out my back. I have no idea why. I was just picking up this laundry basket or reaching for a whatever. I threw out my back. No, you didn't just throw out your back. You've been doing a little bit for a long time, and there was a breaking point.
Makes sense. When I came, I think last year, the issue I was experiencing was a lot of pain in my calves, a lot of tightness, and I run as well. I'd go for runs and it would just burn up the calves completely. It was really the ankles we needed to go and loosen up the ankles a lot more, because that was having downstream consequences on the calf and also the whole body.
Hips, your back, the shoulders, neck.
And it's all related, of course. Right. So what's the benefit of becoming aware of all this and functional body movement? Like who cares, right?
Right. I think most of us hit a point in our lives, whether we're 75 or 35, that the ratio of trying to be a certain way and trying to get validated externally versus wanting to actually feel good and feeling like you have vitality, the scales start to get tipped a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, really in my late 30s, I was sort of like, I'm in pain all the time. That actually sucks. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And then peeling back the layers, like, oh, I'm in pain because I'm in this constant state of intensity. And I have this anger and I have this fire and blah, 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 and starting to peel back those layers and be like, what if I could change that? And my first feeling was like, that ain't me. Like, no one really wants to change how they are, right? Because we're really attached to our identity.
That's true.
Our self-image. But I mean, that's also part of evolving as a person or maturing as a person, is being open to adapting as your body adapts, as your knowledge adapts, as circumstance change in your life, right?
I reckon that's a really good way of answering the question, because sell the dream to everyone out there about Feldenkrais. You're like, well, hang on, Justin, if you've not been listening to everything we just spoke about, it's not about these externalized benefits of what you're going to get to.
Right.
It's about the here and now and what's within. And it's more about like a value system of how you want to approach your life.
Yeah, it's personal evolution, which, you can't really put that in a box. You can't evaluate it, but it will improve the quality of your life. I'll say something that bold because I experience it myself. I experience it with the people I work with all the time. And there's no harm in trying. I mean, that being said, any somatic practice, like any practice, you do it one time. Some of you, if you're super sensitive, might say, oh, this is cool, you notice something. Look at it like you're learning anything else, Like I always say, it's like a language, right? So if you were actually interested in learning how to speak a language, then you probably wouldn't just do one class and then say, no, never mind, this doesn't work for me, right? So you would have to, or you do, exactly. So that's why it just depends
I wasn't
on what
really
your objective
interested,
is.
obviously.
You have to be curious, you know? And it's not, I mean, unfortunately, we all want things to be quick and easy. Me too, but that's not what this is.
Okay.
It's a process.
And for everyone out there, if they are curious about Feldenkrais, and not just about Feldenkrais itself, but more about this way of life, of personal evolution through connection with the body, is there like a practice you can recommend, or it's like something like an entry point just to become a little bit aware?
My favorite, which again isn't going to work for everybody, is becoming aware of your breathing.
Oh, nice.
Not changing it, not trying to do a special kind of breath work.
Okay.
Just awareness. Best place to do it is if you're like, on a train or a bus, or you're waiting in line for something.
Let's do it right now. Everyone's breathing.
Okay.
If you're watching your breathing, right? So how do we, what do they need to do?
If you can close your eyes, do.
Okay.
If that's uncomfortable at all, then don't. If you can be sitting on the floor or laying on the floor somewhere close to the ground, that's great. If that's not accessible to you, sitting in a chair, laying on your bed. And as much as possible, let your attention go inward and notice the chair that you're sitting on if you're sitting, or notice the ground if you're laying on the ground, whatever you're in contact with. And just notice. And then as well as you can without changing anything, just observe the way that you're breathing and notice the kind of feeling. There might be some kind of movement in some part of you, your chest, your belly. I actually had a client here a couple days ago who's a teenager, and I talked to her about this, and she was just like, boring, not gonna do it, you know. And so that's a real thing. Again, like a teenage mind that's busy and wants to be stimulated. Most of us, even when we're not teenagers, feel that way. So it's kind of a permission you have to give yourself. Do I allow myself to spend 60 seconds, 90 seconds, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to lay here, feel what I'm in contact with, feel my feet on the ground, my bum on my chair, listen for the feeling of my breathing moving in my body. And then you might also start to notice the sounds in your room or outside. Your eyes are closed, then you're reducing the feedback that you're getting through your teleceptors, through your eyes. And that's it. That's all there is to it.
Nice. That's a great exercise.
Try it. See how you feel after.
Tara, I know that you do Feldenkrais integration sessions for people that come through Chiang Mai.
Yeah.
Have you entered the online space with Zoom sessions and things like that?
Yeah, I work with people on Zoom, one-on-one. If it's something you want to try out, don't really want to go into a group class situation. There's group class situations too. But yeah, people can find me on Zoom. Also on my website, I have audio files that you can download, do it at home.
Yeah.
You can try an audio file, see if you like it, and if you do, I can personalize it for you. There's also lots of other Feldenkrais practitioners, but also somatic movement,
right? Yeah.
Anything, people that might have videos on YouTube that you can find if you want to just try it out at home.
Cool. What's your website?
somaticmovementproject.com.
somaticmovementproject.com. I recommend giving it a shot if you're interested in Feldenkrais. I've seen a number of different Feldenkrais practitioners around the world. To be honest, all of whom have been amazing. You know, it's an amazing modality, but can't recommend Tara highly enough. In fact, my father, he comes to Chiang Mai pretty regularly, and he's got some chronic ailments, and he's actually making a trip to Chiang Mai in a few months just to see Tara. Not even to see us. He's here to see Tara, to do Feldenkrais with her. So definitely recommend giving it a shot. It's a great exercise for the breath work. Any final words that you feel we haven't covered that you want to wrap up?
Honestly, a lot of the people that come to see me are people that have tried everything else because they have anxiety or they have pain, they have chronic fatigue. If you haven't yet tried a somatic practice, whether it's Feldenkrais method or something else, there's really no harm. You can only stand to benefit from trying it, whether it's with a practitioner or a group class or through some kind of lesson or class online. Just give it a shot. It might be the thing that could really make a difference in your life.
I've been doing Feldenkrais off and on for about 10 years now. I think it's just completely profound and amazing. So highly recommend giving it a shot. Absolutely. Cool. Thanks, Tara, for being here, and thanks everyone for watching.